Hey you guys, it's Britt. Today I'm here to do a little reaction on Without a Crystal Ball, discussing the Trisha Paytas drama. So if you're interested, please keep watching. Alright you guys, so a few of you shared this with me and said that it was an interesting one to watch. Spoiler alert, I did listen to it at 2 times speed once just to kind of get the gist of what she was saying. So this isn't a live reaction, obviously, because it's pre-recorded, but this really drives my point home that Katie will take any situation and somehow relate it back to her, somehow. And it's funny because the other night, if you guys remember her getting really upset with her members for sharing their tragic stories when she was sharing her tragic story, she got very upset with them because they weren't listening to her and they weren't paying attention to her. But then she turns around and inserts herself into something that has nothing to do with her and then tries to label herself as a scapegoat. This scenario that Trisha's going through has nothing to do with Without a Crystal Ball. Nothing. Some of the players might be somehow, 7 degrees of separation, but what Trisha's going through literally has nothing to do with Katie. Are we surprised? No, never surprised. But, every time I try to just look away and, not pay too close attention to what's going on, and you guys share stuff with me and I'm like, that's kind of interesting, but, I'll keep it moving and whatever. Then she does something like this, and my message to Katie, she claims she doesn't watch my videos. I find that hard to be true, but whatever. Maybe she doesn't, but if she does, my message to her would be, Katie, if you want people to stop making videos, reacting or giving commentary, stop providing them with the content. And I completely realize, please, it is not missed on me. Some channels go completely overboard with their coverage on you. However, a lot of us are just reacting to the things that you do as of recently. It's not even going back and looking at all of your different videos. Like, this literally was less than 24 hours ago. So I can't speak for everyone, but I think for a handful of the channels that discuss Without a Crystal Ball, the content is being fed. So if she wasn't doing stuff like this, then this video that I'm filming right now wouldn't be existing. Because I would have just waited until the next, crazy thing happened with the lawsuit. I don't know. There are a lot that overdo it, but girl, you gotta stop. Gotta stop feeding everyone stuff to react to. It's just something that a lot of people are interested in. Like I said, people like watching, dumpster fires on YouTube. And as of lately, this is like a live running dumpster fire that just continues. It's like the gift that keeps giving. So we're going to react to this. Spoiler alert, I am going to speed it up because she talks very slow and takes quite a while to get to points at times. And I don't want to keep you guys here for 2 hours. And we're off to the races. So let's hear what she has to say.
Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a good night. And I hope you guys are doing well. I have been meaning to actually get online for a while. Unfortunately, I had something come up extremely serious that is really disturbing, and I wish I could tell you more, but I just want you guys to know that we're going to talk about Trisha Paytas and what she just came out with about Shane Dawson. But I just want you guys to know that what I'm currently going through is entangled in all of this, and what I found out tonight is really bad. And
how is what she's going through entangled in all of this? Let's do a quick breakdown. Katie Joy decided to do far too much digging on beauty guru Tati Westbrook. She decided to rope in her husband, make crazy claims against what her husband did to his mother. Said that it was, you know, money motivated, and essentially, we all know the story. Cut off the oxygen supply so that he would get more money, claim that they were, you know, not wealthy, and that's what landed her in this lawsuit. Now, what's happening with Trisha? What's happening with Trisha is that she decided to bring up the Las Vegas trip from last year. I just did a video yesterday. You guys can go watch that. She decided to bring that back up. Jeffree Star and her wig guy, Hair by Jay, decided to go off on an Instagram live and say a bunch of really vile, mean stuff about Trisha. Shane Dawson is hiding in the bushes somewhere. He's nowhere to be seen. So Trisha decides to block Shane, cut off her friendship with Shane, and basically just tell her truth. So we have these two scenarios. I don't see how those are intersecting. Now, if you want to do the whole 7 degrees of separation thing, you can say that, okay, Katie Joy's in a lawsuit with Tati Westbrook, who is a beauty guru like Jeffree Star is, and you know, they've done a few videos together and they had their falling out. But the situation that Katie is in is because of her own doing. And when I listened to this video the first time, I'm sitting there and I'm just like shaking my head like, you are in this situation because of what you did, especially to Tati's husband. Specifically throwing dirt on his name and coming out with these crazy claims against him. What Trisha's going through is unfair, and it's bullying, and it's mean, and it's vile. But Katie is using this to associate it back to her being in a lawsuit.
I can't tell you anything more, but I do want to ask that, one, if you are someone who believes in God, could you please just say a prayer? There's someone out there right now who really needs it, like really badly. And if you're not a believer.
So she said that she just found out something that's really crazy. Why do people do this? And it's not just her. I can't stand when YouTubers do this. Something really crazy happened, but I can't tell you guys any information. But please say a prayer. Like, that is using scare tactics and sympathy in order to gain attention and pity from anyone who might be watching this video. But you're gaining the sympathy and pity based on empty statements because you can't say anything. You're not going to give any details. You can't disclose any information. Then why even say it? Just leave it all, you know, in your own house or whatever. Like, whatever it is that's going on, unless you are able to disclose information and let your audience know, I don't want to hear about it. Because then you're asking for prayers for what? Like, what am I praying for? The protection of some Joe Schmo I don't even know? Who knows? Maybe she's talking about a Joe Schmo that isn't a very good person. Why am I going to send him my well wishes when I don't even know what the hell is going on?
Could you please say some positive thoughts for someone? I can't tell you who, but what's happening right now is really bad. And these big YouTubers are all just, I got really triggered listening to Trisha talk about what she's been through, talking about how evil Jeffree Star is and what a terrible human being he is and what he's done to people and how everyone is scared of him. And it made me realize that I am in the situation I am in right now because of Jeffree Star, and I'm the scapegoat.
So she blames Jeffree Star for the situation that she's in right now. If this is not the most tone-deaf, dumbass statement I've ever heard, Katie Joy, you are in the situation that you are in because of what you did. Now, Is Jeffree Star a vile, mean person? Absolutely. I've never liked the guy. And as more and more information has come out about him, it's only solidified my decision to not support him. And it's completely ridiculous that, listen, you have to be responsible for your own actions. And I think that that's something that Katie has always struggled with. And now that we're sort of at the, it's kind of beyond the tipping point because she ignored 4 C&Ds and is now in a lawsuit, you have to come to a realization that you can try to blame every other big YouTuber on this platform, but their behavior, even though it's wrong and vile and mean and ugly, the reason that she is in a lawsuit is because of things that she said on her channel, and she uploaded it to her audience. So you have to be able to segregate Jeffree Star and Shane being, trash human beings. Even though they are not to blame for what Katie said. So is she alluding to the fact that the whole thing with James and his mother, was that information fed to her by Jeffree and Shane? Is that what she's trying to get at here? Because I can guarantee you, Shane and Jeffree have no fucking clue who Katie Joy is. They might now because they might be aware of the lawsuit. But her trying to drive this point home that anything that she's going through is because of Jeffree is ignorance beyond belief.
And the hell that I've been put through in the last 3 months has been the worst that I've ever gone through. But there's someone that's going through something even worse right now, and they need your prayers badly. So that's all I'm going to say.
So someone else that we still don't know, and we don't know what they're going through, she's asking for prayers. And while in the same sentence saying that what she's going through is not her fault, she's a scapegoat, and Jeffree Star is to blame. This is utterly ridiculous. It actually makes me mad. One of the biggest things I can't stand is when people won't take responsibility. If you're a shitty human being and you make bad decisions, take responsibility for it. Stand by your actions. Stand by your words. And if you say words that you no longer stand by, then come out and correct yourself and say that my opinion has changed, or my opinion has changed and I'm very sorry about the things that I said. This is someone who will never take responsibility for her actions, and she will constantly deflect and try to place blame on others, whether it's just one person or a group of people. Whether it's blaming subscribers, whether it's blaming other YouTubers. And don't get it twisted. I realize that there are some people who have been very, very unfair to Katie, and I don't agree with everything that she's been through. In fact, I think that some of it is downright reason to lose your platform, in my personal opinion. However, the reason that she's in the middle of this lawsuit and the reason that there's so much attention on her is because we have never seen a YouTuber ignore 4 C&Ds and come out with these outlandish claims against a YouTuber's spouse, and then continue to dig her hole deeper and deeper and lash out on Twitter and then go on live streams and say, weird things that have no information behind them. And now she's here asking for prayers and positive thoughts for someone that we don't know. She won't give us any information, but she says that it's really bad, and it is asking for sympathy and attention. It's mind-blowing to me how someone can actually reason with themselves and come to their platform and do the things that she does. and I'm not angry, my voice is elevated right now. It is mind-boggling. Right now, you've already had about 1 million chances, but right now, instead of just staying quiet, she wants to say that it's Jeffree Star's fault, and I fucking can't stand Jeffree Star. So I'm not one of his stans over here like, poor Jeffree. No, I think he's vile, and it's crazy to me that anyone still supports him. But then you have her completely not taking blame and calling herself a scapegoat. Are you kidding?
About that. It's been an extremely hard night. I'm not crying. I have like some shine in my eyes, but it's been a really bad night. Okay. Jeffree Star is, in my opinion, not a good person. A lot of these people are not good people. And I wish people had the actual, I wish I wasn't the scapegoat and they just weren't afraid of Jeffree Star, because it's just deplorable.
You're not a scapegoat. Like, I'm not going to go off every time she says this, but I think that there have been situations throughout history where someone has been a scapegoat, for sure. But when you look at the facts, and especially people that are very familiar with all of the steps that this lawsuit has taken, and those who are well-versed in the whole Dramageddon thing and everything that went down with the Shane and Jeffree and Tati issue, would be able to look at this situation and see exactly what she's doing. She's deflecting yet again, not taking responsibility, and she's using this situation that Trisha is going through as a way to come to her platform and try to make people think that somehow she was used and you know, dirt was thrown on her name by Jeffree because he's so evil.
Jeffree Star is loaded and he's evil. But we're going to talk about Trisha. No, I'm not okay. It's been the worst 3 months of my life. And
worst 3 months of your life? I take her word for that. I am sure that there is a lot going on, but every time I even have a little thing in my blip in my brain that's like, oh, I would feel bad for her too. But then I go back to the fact that she ignored 4 C&Ds. 4. And they all had merit. These were not C&Ds that were just sent, you know, and they had no grounds to stand on. These were sent with intent and with, you know, full reason to move forward with a lawsuit. So 4 warnings, you ignored all of them, and now you're in the middle of this shitstorm that you can't make your way out of, really. So I can't sympathize with someone like that, even if I can't stand anyone else that's involved in this entire situation.
I am the scapegoat. Jeffree Star is the person, in my opinion, who was blamed for all of what I'm going through. So let's talk about.
Jeffree didn't come out and say that James Westbrook cut off his mother's oxygen supply so that he could get money, and he drained all the equity out of her house. To my knowledge, Jeffree never said that. He has said some really, really bad things, but Katie Joy said that. So that is one of the few reasons that she is in a lawsuit and Jeffree isn't.
About Trisha. It just further reiterated, it just further cemented into me how terrible these people are.
Okay, and I agree with her. There are a lot of really bad people on YouTube, and there are a lot of people that are vile and mean and, you know, don't care about their subscribers and the whole 9 yards. Agree with that, but anyone listening to this live stream also needs to remind themselves that they need to segregate the fact that Katie dug her own hole versus people on YouTube being mean and not very nice. Those are 2 completely different worlds, you know?
You know what, Melissa? You would not be laughing if you knew what I knew and what is going on right now. None of you should be laughing about this because what's going on is so serious. This isn't funny. It's life or death.
Okay, so this girl said now it's Jeffree's fault. And, you know, the way that Katie responds is just always so nasty, in my opinion. Even if she's stressed out, you don't need to snap off on people like that. But she's questioning what Katie just said. So now it's Jeffree's fault. That's what you just said. So, you know, instead of saying, yes, you know, that's what I'm alluding to because of the information that I know, even though I don't think that that's what's happening, she snaps off and automatically says, oh, it's life or death, to add even more seriousness to her claims that all of this is Jeffree's fault. She better be careful, because you know what I could see happening? In my opinion, this is not factual, but in my personal opinion, if she continues to do this, Jeffree might be the next one knocking on her door. Because you cannot just continually blame someone for all of these things with, you know, no proof and no evidence, and expect them to just stay quiet and continue to ignore it. No, she blocked that girl too.
I wasn't stressed until tonight. And it's not because of me. All right. I can't tell you.
See, all of this is so frustrating. This whole things are really, really, really bad, but I can't tell you anything. Like, what is that? Just don't say anything then. Stop asking for sympathy and prayers and good thoughts and all the good vibes from your audience if you're not going to provide them with any information. Could you guys imagine if I came on a video and said, oh my God, you guys, things are so bad and I'm so scared and I really need, you know, positive thoughts sent my way because things are really, really, really bad, but I can't tell you any information. What the fuck is that?
So Trisha, I'm going to turn on members only because you guys are being horrific. You don't seem to care and you want to berate me. And I've asked you guys to be kind and I've asked for your prayers. And I am going to continue to ask that if you are someone who believes, that you pray or you say good thoughts.
She'll use any excuse to turn on members only. We already know that. The only thing that I saw was that girl that said now it's Jeffree's fault. So she automatically uses that as a reason to turn on members only. AKA, I only want my echo chamber here, and anyone else that has any question or opinion is out of here. This issue with YouTubers using members only and building an echo chamber, I kind of want to make a video dedicated to this topic alone. When you create a YouTube channel, you know, you're signing up to be talked to by the peanut gallery. Some people are going to like you. Some people are going to hate you for no reason. But if you're only going to build an echo chamber around you of people that are glorifying your every video and your every statement, then you're not ever going to be able to mold and change and grow on this platform. And maybe that's what some people want. But these YouTubers who consistently, you know, only want to hear from people praising them. And as soon as you have, you know, a question or a comment, you're either blocked, you're called a sheep, you're told to get off my channel, or, you know, whatever. That type of behavior is so just sour and rotten to me. And if those people want to stay with their little, you know, group of people who only cheer them on, even when it's vile, disgusting behavior, then that's fine. That's their journey, not mine. But if you are a YouTuber and you are watching this, don't shut out the people that have questions or suggestions. Katie could have handled that completely different and had a conversation about it, but instead she's turning on members only so that it's her echo chamber, you know, soothing her soul.
But I will not, this chat will not be for you to verbally harass me. I'm done with it.
Nobody is verbally harassing her. All she was doing, all that girl said is, oh, now it's Jeffree's fault. That is not verbal abuse or harassment. Katie loves to use the most egregious terms to describe the things that she's going through, and that's what almost turns her into the boy that cried wolf, because she calls everyone a troll, everyone's out to get her, and therefore when she comes to her channel and says this person is actually harassing me, nobody knows if they can even believe her or not.
So anyways, Trisha is breaking up publicly with Shane, and it's a long time coming. And some people are really unhappy with her. They say that she somehow is a terrible person. She deserves this. She should have known that they were bad people. But this is her video basically finally just publicly cutting ties with him. And it triggered me because I know how evil this man is. And let's just start.
How does Katie know anything else more than the rest of us don't know? She acts like she was, you know, living with Shane for a year and saw some stuff that will never be on the internet. The whole internet knows how he's presented himself and all of the problematic behavior.
Promoting what I can, because I did just recently buy a house, so now it's like, you know, I put all every penny I saved into buying that house, and I was like starting fresh. Now
so if you missed my video from last night, Trisha Paytas is basically said that she's afraid of Jeffree Star. And she went on a trip with them to Las Vegas, and he was verbally abusive. He told her not to eat. He slapped food out of her hands. He mocked her. He degraded her. He belittled her. She said it was so traumatic that she left early, and that she came back and told Shane, and Shane did not believe her, and that she had been friends with Shane for 12 years and just hoped that he would listen to her, but he didn't. And then Jeffree's wig person went on a very public verbal assault, calling her a walrus, mocking her acne, talking about how poor she is, discussing about how, you know, Jeffree paid for everything. And so she should basically be grateful. And none of that constitutes anyone treating anyone like that. People think that Trisha's getting what she deserves, and because she put up with it and she knew who these people were. And to be honest, like, I don't think that's fair. I think this whole idea of cancel culture of this is karma is bullshit. Nobody deserves to be on a trip with someone and have someone slap food out of their hands and verbally degrade them. And
I don't know if it's just what she's seeing on the internet, but based on the feedback on my video and other videos that I've seen on YouTube, I haven't seen anyone calling this karma. I've had a couple of people say, well, you know, I don't like Trisha, like whatever, but for the most part, I think people are calling this for what it is, at least based on what I've seen, in that it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable behavior. It should have never happened. And no matter who the person is, what Hair by Jade did is, it shouldn't be looked at for anything aside from it being gross, vile behavior.
Assault them. That's not cool. And people that say karma and she's problematic, who cares? Just because someone's problematic and makes mistakes doesn't constitute people being treated this way. And it's just more proof that Jeffree Star and his friends, Shane Dawson, are doing things behind the scenes that are so terrible, and they're using their money and their power and their influence to just make people do whatever they want. And that's not the kind of behavior that we should want on YouTube at all. We should demand better in general.
Yes, we should want better, but the fact of the matter is that Jeffree Star has a huge fan base behind him, that after all of the information that has come out to date, a lot of people just will not leave him alone. They just won't leave his channel. They won't stop supporting him. So calling it out is what should be happening, but at the same time, his behavior, while vile, he still didn't do what Katie did to end herself up in a lawsuit.
I just gotta keep working. And like, I don't want to continue doing it without addressing this, because I don't want it to be like I'm just moving on and everything's okay, because I'm so tired of everyone just being like, everything's fine, get over it, all this stuff. Because the truth is I'm not over it. It's why I still talk about it a year later. It was one of the most traumatizing things ever, like the mean girl behavior. And again, I didn't say anything for so long because like I knew Shane was friends with Jeffree, and Shane would call me like, don't make a video, it'll make things worse. Like, and now like looking back, I see like he had told me originally that he also was scared of Jeffree, was slowly distancing himself from him.
Everybody is scared of Jeffree because Jeffree holds things over people's heads, because Jeffree has a lot of money now, because Jeffree has a loyal base of followers that don't give a crap about what he does. He basically has like a cult, in my opinion, of people that disregard all of his bad behavior, completely minimize his misogyny, his racism, and how he treats others. Like, we should never, my personal belief with Jeffree is not about how he is, whether or not his makeup is good or this or that. Like, I have never supported him because, one, I will never support any creator or buy from them when I know that they say things about women that are degrading, and you are going to sell makeup to these women and we're going to put money in your pocket. But if we're not skinny enough, if we're not pretty enough, if we don't have the best skin, you're going to mock us, you're going to degrade us. And this is not just like one instance. There are so many of these stories that he's just, in my opinion, not a good person.
While I agree with her on a couple of those points, Katie has also not been the nicest person to other women, both her own subscribers and just public figures. So yeah, here's the thing. She's trying to build up this case against Jeffree Star to make it seem like, oh yeah, I'm the scapegoat. Look at all these bad things that Jeffree's done. And now Trisha's validating everything that he is done and everything that I'm saying. But when you also run your channel and you have been shown to be a mean girl and not be very nice to people, including your own members, I don't really think that that gives you any better of a leg to stand on as far as trying to spread love and positivity and all of the good things.
Because his wig person put her on blast. And Shane's free pass on the internet is over. The fact that Shane has co-signed to this behavior, that he has allowed this kind of behavior, and people will say, well, Trisha put up with this for years. Trisha was not friends with Jeffree. She was friends with Shane. Shane and her were friends for 12 years. Jeffree became Shane's friend through their redemption piece, and then Shane used Jeffree for money. And now they are glued together because he does the merch, and he's also, making Shane.
The merch has nothing to do with it, in my opinion. Shane Dawson could hire any company under the sun to do his merch. So I wouldn't really use that as a check as far as why Shane is still around. Shane, in my opinion, sold his soul to the devil, and he's obviously made it very clear that he's going to stick it out with Jeffree to the end. And it doesn't matter if he loses friends that have been around for 12 plus years.
Millions of dollars. So Shane basically, in my opinion, used Trisha for whatever he could get from her when she was no longer of any sort of use to him, found other YouTubers that he could glom onto. And
I don't think that Shane ever used Trisha. They had if their friendship was only a couple of years, then I can maybe see that, like, oh, well, he was only friends with her for a short amount of time. They were friends for a very, 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 very long time. So I don't look at that as a convenience factor. I don't look at it as, oh, well, he was only using her for these videos that he did and then he was out. Like, this was a really long-standing friendship.
Trisha, you guys don't have to like her, but I can actually identify so much in her because she's the kind of person I can tell that believes the best in people, is loyal to her friends, and will defend her friends no matter what. Even if they do things that are bad, she will maybe not have the best boundaries, which is also part of her.
I have not seen Katie defend her friends like to the end. To my knowledge, Katie Joy's the type of person that as soon as shit hits the fan, she will throw someone under the bus, even if it's her best friend, in order to save face. So as far as the Friend of the Year award, Katie wouldn't even be on the nominee list, in my opinion.
Borderline personality disorder, with having issues understanding boundaries and, being really all in with people. And like, it's so disgusting to me that people are so hard on her, but then they don't hold these same people accountable. That all of these channels constantly berate her and humiliate her and go after her, but they don't hold that same energy for the male creators that are doing things that are worse. Like, you don't have to like everything that she does. Honestly, you don't. but nobody deserves the amount of hate that she gets, period. Just because, why? Because she sometimes trolls, literally, like so many creators. Keemstar trolls. Like Keemstar, in my opinion, does 37 million times things worse than Trisha and doesn't get half of the amount of hate that she does.
Trisha has also really insulted a lot of communities here by the videos that she's done on her YouTube channel. So I don't care for Keemstar. I don't care for Trisha. Like, I don't care for any of these people really, but I do think that the treatment of male creators versus female creators, I do think that there is a difference. So I'll agree with her on that point.
And then I see him on the Sick Ryan's podcast, not once, but twice, as recent as last week, and then just gushing over him and praising him. When Jeffree Star, in my opinion, is a really nasty, vile person. Like, I know people can, like, say, I think she's a troll, or like, people do, like, shitty things online or have bad behavior, but when it's repeated bad behavior and, like, it's an apology, but then it's just more nasty shit, the most vile shit has come out even more. I'm not one, but two people that were on that Vegas trip with us that were not on Jeffree's payroll. And it's, like, disgusting things. And they both, they're two separate entities. They don't know each other. They both told me the exact same nasty shit.
I just wanted to send you a message of love and support. No one should be hurting. The world is bad enough. Sorry for what you're going through. It's not me personally that's going through something. There is someone that is really deeply hurting right now, and it's very serious. And like, all I can tell you, you guys, is everything that you're listening to and all these videos you're seeing about me and everything that you're hearing right now is a big fat smokescreen, and you will learn soon enough how evil all of this is.
So she wants to call all the videos being made about her a smokescreen. I don't understand how it can be a smokescreen when reaction channels and commentary channels are using content that she has made or tweets that she has put out or videos that she has done on Instagram and giving their reaction or their thoughts on those. Based on my seat, I haven't seen a lot of channels just splicing a bunch of stuff together to make it look like she said something that she didn't say. Typically, it's, you know, similar to this setup where someone is reacting to a video that she did. She always wants to say all the truths are going to come out. All of the facts will come out and you guys will understand. But every time she says that and then the facts come out, everyone's left scratching their heads. So I'm not going to take her word for it this time. I don't see how a smokescreen and someone reacting to something that she actually said can even, you know, line up.
Like, I wish I could tell you all of it, but I can't, and I won't. But Jeffree Star is a monster, and so many of these YouTubers are monsters, and they knock people down, make an example of them, humiliate them.
Jeffree Star is a monster. We have clarified that. We have confirmed that. Everybody knows that. But it does not take away from what Katie did to Tati and her husband. I don't even understand how she's like making sense of these two things and trying to make them coexist in this like world of, oh, well, Jeffree did this to me, I was just a scapegoat. It makes zero sense to me.
No one deserves to be humiliated and have food knocked out of their hands.
About me all the way up until me getting Rolls Royce, thinking that I wanted to be him, talking shit about me, and my OnlyFans talking shit about me on drugs. My sister just did TikTok. She dropped me off at the freaking airport. I was never on drugs. When I came back, I was not on drugs. That shit is so messed up to me. And
so they were trying to say that the reason why she got a private plane was because she was on drugs and Jeffree was just doing a good thing for her and like let her take the thing. Like, this is what Jeffree does. Like, Jeffree, by the way, is always on drugs. Like, Jeffree wants to pretend like, you know, he smokes pot and it's not a big thing. Dude, Jeffree, pot's a drug. Like, I don't care if you like to use it, it's still on drugs. So, but then to try to like diminish her and like degrade her is just disgusting. No one should be using their power and their money to.
Okay, so as far as the drug claims go, let's talk about that for a second. I don't approve of anyone ever alluding or guessing the fact or even bringing it up in conversation that someone else might be on drugs or is on drugs or has an addiction problem. That to me is off the table all the time. You don't do that to people because you never know what their background is. You don't know what their family's history is. You don't know if they've lost a loved one to addiction. So don't agree with it. It should never be a topic of a conversation. There are so many other things that you can say. Guessing to whether or not someone's on drugs is just gross. I will say, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but did Katie Joy not say something about Nick Snyder and his addiction issue? So you're gonna stand up on your soapbox and act like you're doing all of the good things and speaking out for what's right, but people who know Katie's history will remember things like that when she has done the exact same thing that she is calling out right now. In my opinion, drugs, all of that stuff, off the table. It should never, ever, ever be mentioned, in my opinion.
Intimidate people and to buy their silence and to make them say like, well, I have money, so you should feel grateful. It's bad.
So evil. What's so evil is that he's doing this like behind closed doors and like telling people and like planting seeds. He's like this cult leader, and that's why Jay, you know, he's like, oh, Jay doesn't represent me. But meanwhile, I know this is the shit they're talking.
All of these big YouTubers are like cult leaders, and their cult followers listen without any critical thinking to anything that they say, regardless of whether or not it's rooted in fact or reality, and it causes.
I don't think that all big YouTubers are like cult leaders. I think that's kind of just adding dramatics to what she's saying. I will say that I think some of them have cult leader tendencies and a lot of their stands act very crazy, but Katie Joy has stands that act very crazy too. Some of the things that her stands have said to me in my comment section are the most vile, hurtful, disgusting things that I've ever seen written about myself, ever. To me, in this video, she's definitely trying to just plant the seed that Jeffree is just the worst person ever so that she can tie it back to him basically like he should have been blamed for the lawsuit. Instead, they're tackling her, the little guy with no money, when look at all of these bad things that Jeffree's doing. Which I'm not discounting the fact that Jeffree is a bad person. I think that he is vile. However, we have to remember that Katie Joy got herself in this situation on her own accord.
So much damage to the people that they talk about, and they don't care as long as they get to move up. This is the culture that has been created. Exactly. Jeffree is never sober. So if Jeffree's never sober, how is it that he has any place to talk about what Trisha does? And by the way, Trisha has been open about her problems with substance abuse. She's never hidden that. So then to use it as a way to degrade and demean her is like so hurtful. We need to put our heads together and help the women gain the power and levels that Jeffree and Shane are at so they don't need to go through this type of hate. Exactly. I was thinking about this today because I get called out for some shit that nobody would call out men for. Because what? I'm not going to put up with the bullies on YouTube. So suddenly I'm the bad person because I'm not going to bend to their demands and do what they want and not go with their narrative and then get punished for it. No, like this is how toxic this environment is. It's horrible. And Jeffree is like the ringleader of all of it.
I don't think Jeffree has anything to do with people calling out Katie Joy.
To each other, and because that's the shit they were talking to me about me.
And I'm not speaking about anyone but Jeffree. I want to be clear, very clear. Don't twist my words. This is about Jeffree.
And then the first person, his name's Tabs, and Tab has a video out. And I think it was re-uploaded. Tab was the first person to come forward with this. The second person, I don't really know if we're to be involved, but the second person to come with me and be like, he says nasty shit all through last year. And I was biting my tongue because Shane was like saying, like, oh, even up until the last time I saw Shane, he's like, oh yeah, Jeffree's just really lonely in the front. Jeffree's evil up until this last freaking tweet he sent me. Jeffree saying, love you, like going back and forth and then just ending it with like, you have my number, I'm not doing this internet charade, love you, girl.
Jeffree was so passive aggressive with her on Twitter. It was bad. Acting like he had nothing, no part of this. Like, people like to act like we're all Karens and you can bully us as women. Yeah. So men, I've noticed this so much within the commentary community, within creators. They just bully the women and then they push the women to the edge. And then the women get pushed to the edge by the men. And then we react and then we're the crazy ones. When in reality, it's the men that are pushing the women. And then the men are never held to the same standard. They're never like, well, why are you doing this to women? Why are you picking on women? Why are you degrading women? Right? Like,
I know exactly who she's talking about here, where, you know, she's been pushed to the edge. She's talking about BXB's boy. Like, we're not stupid, because he's the only one that's done that many videos on her, to my knowledge, that is a man. I haven't seen any other men do what, almost allegedly 70 videos. I haven't looked, but I think that it's around that number. So no other man has done that to Katie. I don't agree with her being covered to that amount and then being called crazy. Like, she has every right to stand up for herself if she feels like she has been put in a corner, just like every commentary channel has every right to make videos about her. Even if the videos are delivered in a way that I don't necessarily agree with, or I would do things differently, that's whatever. That's YouTube. So people have every right to cover her, but no, I don't think that she should be called crazy when she comes out and stands up for herself. I just don't, because to my knowledge, for a very long time, she was very quiet about the BX stuff. And then here more recently, she has been talking about it a little more. And, you know, she has every right to stand up for herself, just like every commentary channel has a right to make videos about her, whether it's too many or not enough or whatever.
On the channels that you're watching, are they constantly degrading other people that are women, right? That are in the same category as them? Are other commentators constantly going after female commentators? Because why? Because they're easier targets. In my opinion, a lot of men, especially those who have low self-esteem or who are, you know, weak, or they don't want to go against a man because, you know, it's easier to pick on a woman because a woman, you know, in the terms of like, you know, the hierarchy of nature, men feel like they have power over us. So it's easier for men to target women because they think that we're not going to fight back. And then when we do fight back, we're the crazy ones, right? How many videos have been made about me by certain male creators?
See, I knew who she was talking about.
And then if I respond, I'm the crazy one? No. So these men can make all these videos about me, targeting me. And then if I dare to respond, then they can call me names, call me a Karen, mock my appearance. It's fine. None of this is okay at all. Jeffree and Keemstar, all of these creators have created this kind of environment where other YouTubers who are smaller feel like they can be justified in mocking people. And Keemstar is so brutal to Trisha. It's horrific. And Keemstar sets the tone for all these other drama channels to make them feel emboldened to bully her.
And nobody, you guys, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record right now, nobody should be going after anyone else's appearance. Point blank, period. There's enough other things that you can talk about on videos as commentary channels where you don't need to attack someone for their weight or their hair or their skin or, you know, whatever. There are plenty of other things that we can talk about. So whether it's Keemstar, BX, any of these other male commentary channels, the appearance, you know, saying someone's ugly or overweight or underweight or whatever, I've always thought that that should be off the table. So, you know, if you're going to talk about, oh, this person has no style or I don't like how they dress, that's a little different. You know, it's the same thing. Like, I've given Katie Joy criticism on her makeup. I think that she could do things a little bit differently that would be more flattering to her. Those are things that you can change. But the, you know, amount of hair that you have, your weight, like, those are more sensitive subject matters for people. But that's just my opinion.
Keemstar bullies this woman, mocks her weight. Who does that? And there are people that support Keemstar because it's Trisha. It's not okay to mock someone's weight ever. Or to, you know, like, Keemstar, what are you doing in your house that makes you so superior to Trisha? Tell me. Tell me what you're doing, Keem, that makes you better than Trisha.
I'd love to see if Keemstar, remember how Keem essentially early on came out and gave Katie his support and then he took it back with the whole lawsuit thing? If he would have continued to support her, Katie would not be speaking down about him right now. You know that she would be in his corner and it would have never even been mentioned anything about Keemstar in this video.
We can talk all day about it, but let's figure out how to step the treatment up of women. It's in the business world also. It's terrible. They're all cowards. They're all men. They aren't little boys. It happens in business, but in this industry, it happens constantly. And if you are a strong woman, you are automatically pigeonholed as a Karen or as, you know, you're just bitching or you're, you know, you're just so emotional. No woman on this platform should have to take the amount of hate that some of us take, and then the men get away with it and are praised and allotted. Why does Keemstar even have a channel?
I think that Katie has been called a Karen because of the way that she acts. I don't think that it's just because she's a woman that has an opinion. I think that it's her actions, and especially her actions over time, I don't think that it's just because she's a woman who has emotions and feelings.
He's had 2 channels completely terminated for his behavior. He gets on his channel and berates and degrades and humiliates women constantly, minimizes their women that go through SA, talks about how they, it's not real.
Talks about how it's not real, just like she called S a liar. Ooh, that makes you look really dumb, Katie. I'm not gonna lie, because you called a child a liar, but now you're coming down on Keemstar for doing the same exact thing. This is a pot meet kettle moment right here.
Plays it. And then you've got all these copycat channels that think it's cool to make videos like that. And then you've got all these little copycat channels that troll and attack and make every woman like me who does the same job they do into Karens. And it's all so strategic because they want to lose our credibility so that we lose subscribers, they take our subscribers, and they convince all of you guys that we suck.
I don't think that anyone who's a subscriber of Katie would be stolen by some of these other commentary channels, because she covers reality TV. They're the Teen Mom, and it's only a few shows that she covers. So, Keemstar, based on what I know, he covers more mainstream YouTubers, maybe celebrities. I'm not a subscriber of his, so I'm just going based off what I've seen. She talks about competition a lot, and you guys know I think the best competition is to be a competitor with yourself. It's good for the mental health. It's good for the growth of your channel and just you as a person. So I don't think that anyone, aside from maybe a few people, are actual competitors of Katie. I don't think that you can blanket the whole commentary community as being in competition with one another, because we all cover different things.
And that we're liars. And it's not us that's doing us. And then we are put on the defensive constantly. And then they're like, you're crazy. Imagine going through that kind of abuse constantly and see how you would respond. That's how she's feeling. The word hysteria and hysterical comes from the word. Agree, Katie.
Oh, condescending for being fucking traumatized. And what really set me off today, and I will no longer support Shane in any way. I'm not gonna hate monger him. I'm not, I truly believed he changed from all the shit he got canceled for. I blindly defended him and all the shit he got canceled for, because I was like, that's a long time ago. I'd never seen that around him. Like, I truly believe he changed. People change. And you know what? He did change from that. And he also proved that people do change, but not always for the better. That I was.
You know what pisses me off about all of this when it comes to Shane is and I'm not trying to, what she's going through with Shane is terrible, but to bring this back to my own experience on YouTube, because I so relate to what she's going through. I was the one that did so much digging into Shane, and I looked through all of those videos, and I had this massive thread on Twitter. And
that thread that she's talking about was actually what I told my subscribers about when I first talked about Without a Crystal Ball. And then I realized what a crap, person she was on YouTube. And then I retracted my recommendation. And that was my first Without a Crystal Ball official video, where I told you guys, hey, I told you guys about this person. She's not actually very good. This is why. So I'm taking back my support. So that thread is actually what I told you guys about back in July.
I was able to dictate and show all of his behavior and all of these things he had done that were so problematic, that were reasons he should be canceled, not small reasons, big things he had done. And I got attention for it. And then all of these male creators just started attacking me, destroying my credibility, saying that I was making up cops and I was trying to do these investigations. When all honesty, all I did was watch the video by Sanders Kennedy.
The thread that she's talking about in the Sanders Kennedy situation, those are two completely different issues. Based on what I know, nobody had an issue with her thread on Twitter. They had an issue with the fact that she ran with the Sanders Kennedy story shortly thereafter, added her own little pieces, and put it up on her channel. So the thread is fine, okay, put all the information, whatever, but the Sanders Kennedy thing was an actual problem.
And I said, oh, okay, well, if that's, because I was getting messages too. I'd seen all the videos. I thought he had something real. I did not know that he's the one that reported it. But the officer that I was accused of making up is real. And it was male creators that threw me under the bus because why? Because they want to ruin my credibility.
Did it come out that the officer was like retired or something? He didn't even work at the station anymore.
They want to stick up for Shane because Shane's their god and they don't want me to get any clout for it. I was called out and like Ethan Klein was like putting
She wanted the clout. Cringy.
me on his channel. And then the minute they start attacking me, it's like, well, she got attention and I wanted it. So what she goes through, what Trisha goes through, other creators go through. And it's just a trickle down effect. And it's disgusting.
Even today, I was so beyond having him on the podcast and I'm telling you one thing, being like, I'm scared of him too. I gotta slowly distance myself. Like, don't make a video, like all that stuff, to like praising him on the podcast. To today, switching to, he was like, well, he was the only one, so he started calling to me. That's two different things you're telling me. And then on top of it today, writing me a whole long thing, and here if you want to talk, but also if you just want to come over, and like, let's forget the whole thing. Forget the whole thing. This is something that.
Okay, so he wants her to forget the whole thing after she's been absolutely traumatized because it doesn't suit his needs. Imagine going through something as traumatic as going on a trip with someone and the whole point of that trip was that person to humiliate you. And then you go home and tell your best friend and he's just like, let's just forget that happened because that guy is making me millions of dollars and it's totally fine. Jennifer Lynn, thank you for joining. It's just disgusting. And I will always stick up for other women on this platform. I will always like say like, this is not okay. We shouldn't be degrading women. We shouldn't be minimizing them. We shouldn't make women look crazy. We are allowed to have our emotions. And
nobody should be making women look crazy. But if you are doing that all by yourself and people are giving their opinions on that, then that's different than making someone look crazy.
If you start beating us down, responding to abuse doesn't mean we're crazy. It means we're telling you we've had enough.
Traumatized me for a whole year, and Shane and Ryan knew about it 2 days after this happened. It was traumatizing. I was shaking. My mom, my sister, I was like, my friend Jeffree, I was shaking from it. It was beyond talking about me being on drugs and my sobriety people. It was beyond that. It was him texting me saying, I asked him where my Balenciaga was that I purchased because I purchased Balenciaga with them. And he's like, oh, we're going to bring it up to my room. And I'm like, hey, I left early that night. And I was like, hey, where's my Balenciaga? He's like, Maddie threw it in the trash. And I needed that hoodie. I needed that hoodie to go home. And I would get my old phone and I would look for those text messages because it was so nasty. He would call me at like 4 a.m. the day I was leaving. He's like, hey, come downstairs. We're all here. I would go down into the casino by myself and they wouldn't be there and he wouldn't answer. And it was just nasty, mean girl shit.
He would invite her down to the hotel and say, come down, and then he wouldn't be there.
He gave me a present, whatever. I put my camera in that present in his bag. He gave the bag away with my camera in it to Rich Lux. And I was like, that's my camera. Like, just be that bag. I don't care about bag. I don't care about gifts. And the fact that they're trying to,
gives her a bag. She puts her camera in it. She can't have her camera back. Like, he's cruel.
She acts like she's breaking news right here. Like, we know that Jeffree is cruel. We know that he's vile. We know that he's mean.
I paid for me and my boyfriend trip to Greece first class. Like, I paid for my own shit. I'm just so, it's so traumatizing.
Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you for becoming a member. Here's the thing, you guys. There's a lot of misinformation about me on YouTube right now, and it's not true. I will always stand up for other women. I will never stand for this kind of behavior. And there are a lot of misogynistic men on this platform that target women, degrade us, try to ruin our credibility, and make us look crazy. And it's not okay. None of us, just because we respond to being targeted and harassed by these men.
Katie Joy has had enough of BX. I'll just say it for what it is, you guys. Like, I can tell by a few of the videos that I've watched of hers recently, she is like done and done with the amount of coverage that has been done on her and the things that have been said. And, you know, that's fine. Everyone has a right to stand up for themselves and everyone has a right to say enough is enough and this is how I feel. But at the same time, it's YouTube. You know, people are allowed to make videos whether or not I agree with the things that are in them.
You know that one of the reasons why I had to private my Twitter at one point was because Keemstar was on his channel, on his Twitter, degrading me, lying about me, calling me what I don't even know, crazy, a stalker. None of it was true. And I got so bombarded by hate. He convinced his audience that I was guilty of shit I did not do. And I have been paying the price for that.
Well, he called Katie a stalker because she went so above and beyond to dig up shit on Tati. So I think that that's a strong word to use, because when I think of a stalker, I think of someone who is actually physically stalking you and watching your every move. So I think that that's a strong word to use, but he was trying to drive the point home that oh wow, I actually almost supported this person, and they were actually digging to the center of the earth to find out information on Tati and her entire family.
And I'm the crazy one. No, they set the example and it trickles down. What does he benefit from as a commentator to degrade me? I'm direct competition to him.
Oh, I'm so tired of the competition thing, you guys. Like, Keemstar and Without a Crystal Ball are not competition with one another. Even if you want to look at who's competing on YouTube, what she does and what he does, are they both commentary channels? Sure, but the shit that Keemstar is talking about and the stuff that Katie Joy is talking about are two completely different worlds. Once in a while, will they both talk about maybe a popular YouTuber? Sure, but 90% of the stuff on Katie Joy's channel has to do with reality TV. And at that, it's reality TV that nobody really watches. Like, no one really cares about the Duggars, Teen Mom, and the Sister Wives.
We shouldn't have to degrade one another to actually, like, do our jobs. We should just be able to do our jobs.
Here, now Shane, and I never heard it this way, just be like, come over and let's forget about it. And like, oh, like, Jeffree's been loyal to me, though. It's like,
Yeah, it is gaslighting. I've been gaslit for so many months, but, you know, if I say it, then I'm the narcissist, which, by the way, you guys, I'm not a narcissist. I'm like the exact opposite. I'm an empath. And a lot of these men that are behaving like this are the narcissists that like you to believe that we're the narcissists when we're not. Thank you. I hope I'm getting a lot of women that are joining tonight. And like, I hope we can like get back to where this channel was as a place that supports women, wants women to get out of cults, wants women to learn that they are worth more than their uterus, wants women to get educated, and wants to support other female creators.
I haven't seen Katie support female creators based on, I mean, she might have stood up for a couple, but I look at her as focusing on her own growth and what she's doing and all of the attention being on her.
blindly, anybody on the issue podcast, they had D'Angelo Walls on live, and they're like, hey, do you want to talk about something? I don't, because D'Angelo's on there, and I just don't want to be associated with that because he talked crap about my friend Shane. I don't know D'Angelo, I didn't watch the video, I don't know anything, but I'm so blindly loyal. And I was just like, you know what, if it's something negative about Shane, then I'm really cheered for me more than anything today, and it's why I will no longer support Shane, and I stand by it. It's the hardest. It's the first.
She went so hard for Shane. When everyone was coming down on him, she went up and made videos for him, calling anyone that called him out horrible. She's got a video called Tati's a dumb something. You know, like
that video was used in the court documents as like evidence or something like that.
Like she has done so much for Shane and he's never done anything for her. That kind of treatment is not normal. Sad it happens everywhere. I'm glad for myself. If I recognize it, I'm no longer feel what I feel they're calling me. I keep growing. Right. And interestingly, that Jeffree's loyal to him, but Trisha was the one who always has his back. Exactly. Because Jeffree makes them money. They don't care. Jeffree, Keemstar, they don't care who they hurt. They don't care who they degrade. They don't care who they try to ruin. It doesn't matter to them. Keemstar's accusations against me spawned all these videos, all of these things, accusing me of stalking, which I did not do. It's like obscene. Yet you completely ignore the fact that he says the N-word and that he's degraded women and that he minimizes SA and mental health. Like, it's unfathomable to me how these men treat women.
Is because we have been friends for over 12 years. And he told me today, oh, I guess I just wanted to believe the stuff you said about that Jeffree said about you wasn't true. And like,
no, Shane wanted to believe it wasn't true because Shane was making millions of dollars off of Jeffree's bad behavior because their palette makes him millions. And Jeffree does his merchandise.
I still don't think that the fact that Jeffree does his merch has anything to do with it. I think that they are just in this like really sick friendship together. And I think that Shane has sold his soul to the devil. And now it's just, you know, a limited amount of time before that friendship burns and falls. And then it's just going to be Jeffree up in his mansion with his hair and makeup people because nobody else is going to want to be anywhere near him.
You know, I watched Trisha and Shane since 2009. This is so sad, but I'm so glad she's finally standing up for herself. Me too.
I was shaking and traumatized by it. I was like smacking food out of my hand, calling me like saying I'm poor and all this stuff is like so triggering. And I know I'm 32 and stuff, but like I have so many, clearly I have so many issues, but even if I don't have issues, even if I have no problems, no mental health issues at all, like someone just saying that shit. And Jeffree's like, Larry, apologize and like love you, girl, just so.
Yeah, you don't get to like degrade, berate, and humiliate someone and then just say you're sorry and then be like, I'm done. Like, how much does someone take? Like, I'm so glad she's finally just like standing up for herself because if you watch Trisha, she has been hinting about this for a year. She's talked about it a lot on her channel. Like, I watch her channel a lot because I love watching her eat. I know. And she's talked about it a lot. She has danced around it. She has tried to be diplomatic. She has tried not to go there. But you could tell, I could tell that she was deeply hurt by it. And I'm just glad she's finally letting it out and cutting ties, because no one deserves to be degraded. I don't care if you don't like Trisha. What do you do when your best friend is in bed with the devil and your best friend is completely gaslighting you and you believe them because they are your best friend? And then your best friend never sticks up for you, ever. Like, when has he ever defended her? Ever.
I don't think that Katie is telling anyone anything that nobody knows. Like, at this point, if people are still supporting Shane and Jeffree, that's where they're going to stay until the end of time. So this is not bringing anything new to the table. It's not bringing any information to the table. Her building a campaign against Jeffree, I think she is trying to tie it back to somehow her being a scapegoat for the lawsuit.
I'd much rather get to know Trisha than Shane or Jeffree. That's why I'm here for Katie. Thanks for starting that conversation. Let's start brainstorming how we can begin to battle this treatment. We just need to stand up against the way these men treat women on this platform. We need to stand up against the men that degrade, diminish, and accuse us of behavior that they don't like, yet they are doing horrible things that everyone gives them a pass for. It's a horrible double standard. It's proof that misogyny still exists in all aspects of our life, and why I spend all of my time and energy fighting against fundamentalism. People say that I'm obsessed with the Duggars. No, I'm obsessed with women having rights. I'm obsessed with women having education. I'm obsessed with women being treated equally. And when I see...
But let's be real, the Duggars also pay her mortgage, so...
Use Shane for that. And maybe she can use Jeffree too to make a palette and make a bunch of money. And clearly they lived to be...
They created a male-dominated, toxic, legalistic society, put a veneer of Christianity over it so people won't see the danger and destruction. Exactly. I will never apologize for what I do about fundamentalism, and I will never apologize for speaking out against this kind of behavior on YouTube, because misogyny and like sexism, it exists in so many forms, and women, we need to stop this. We need to stop, and the men pin us against each other, and they make us think that we're over emotional, erratic, and out of control.
I don't think that anyone's, at least for me, nobody's pinning me against Katie Joy or pinning me against any other female creator. If I choose to not support someone and I choose to not like them and or speak out against what they've done on YouTube, that's my own decision. I'm not just gonna follow the Pied Piper because some, male commentary channel says something or some other female YouTuber says something. I don't know, maybe it's just the way that I think and make my own decisions. But if I choose to talk about someone on YouTube, whether it's Trisha, Katie, Classically Abby, Girl Defined, all of the female creators that I have made comments about, Brooke Houts, I've chosen to give them, negative feedback or my thoughts because I don't like them, because I can make my own decisions.
And when we start calling each other those names and we start saying you're erratic, you're crazy, we're giving the men exactly what they want. They don't want to share this with us. They want to be at the top. And who is at the top on YouTube? Who are the biggest creators? It's mostly men.
Stuff with the Devil, the podcast of having Jeffree on there talk about Kanye and stuff like that.
Exactly. When we see another woman backing them up, we need to actually back her up, and we don't need to call her names, and we don't need to call her crazy. Period. This is why when Trisha's going through it, I'm going to say, sis, go off. Keep going off. No one deserves what you went through. Period.
That to me is just the root of all evil. You sold your soul to the devil. You sold out. You don't care how vile someone is. Sorry, I just keep text messaging. How vile someone is, as long as you can get those views and cash it.
And I'm on the receiving end of a lawsuit, mind you.
Okay, so you're on the receiving end because of what you said about James Westbrook, and you ignored 4 C&Ds, Katie. Jeffree and Shane, let's go back to what I said in the beginning. Jeffree and Shane are vile people. I don't think that either of them deserve the following that they have. However, they didn't come out with these claims against James Westbrook and ignore 4 C&Ds. Stop shifting blame for something that came out of your own mouth where you dug it up and you brought it to your channel.
The person that's suing me blamed Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson for doing to her. Think about that. Why do you think I'm so mad right now? In June, on YouTube, she blamed them for everything.
Okay, she blamed them for everything, but they didn't say anything about James Westbrook, her husband, or wonder why they couldn't find her dad's birth certificate. If Shane and Jeffree would have done the same things that Katie Joy did, then they would have been in the middle of a lawsuit, I'm sure. But they would have probably also taken notice when they got 4 C&Ds.
And I'm being sued. It's unconscionable.
Hey, I like, oh, come over, let's talk. I'm in therapy for this. Like,
I have 135,000 subscribers. I had a channel that was moving really fast. And why wouldn't you sue the people that you actually are saying did this to you and go after the person who doesn't have money?
Because they didn't say anything about her husband cutting off his mother's oxygen supply. She is so dense and so in denial over the shit that she has caused to put herself in this scenario that she's in. Instead, she wants to say that Shane and Jeffree are the worst people ever. Why aren't they being sued? They have money. I don't. You're the one that came out with these outrageous claims, put it up on your channel, ignored 4 C&Ds, and that's why you're in the middle of a fucking lawsuit.
It makes no sense.
It actually makes perfect sense if you're looking at it from a logical person's point of view.
With this, like, no, I'm not going to be manipulated anymore. I'm not.
And all of that's my opinion.
Like I said, I do believe he's changed from all those allegations. I believe he's changed, and I know the drama he's had in his past, and I love him, and she is the one I blindly defended because I really thought he always had my back. And the fact that she's like, I gotta...
At least for the last year. This is awful, though. It just makes me feel so sad for her.
My Jeffree, because he was loyal to me. Of course he was loyal to you. Can't she's actual evil. He's actually evil. And you're the only person who's going to leech onto because you made him look good in the beginning and now you both are canceled. All right.
I feel so bad for her. Like, so bad.
Okay, so that's all that I'm going to watch. There's a little bit more where she, basically just receives praise from her members and people say that she's the scapegoat. You guys, we all know that she's not the scapegoat. She created this mess that she's in. And I cannot believe that she would continue to build this narrative that she is just, poor me, pity me, things are so bad. I need prayers because something is really bad is going on. And then let me lead into telling you guys what a terrible person Jeffree Star is and how I'm for women and Keemstar is such a bad person. And, again, I don't like Keemstar and I don't like, a lot of the stuff that I've seen about him. But you can't say, oh, well, he downplays SA when you called a 9-year-old child a liar for the same exact thing. It's ridiculous. So anyway, those are my thoughts on this video. This is probably a very, very long video, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.